Hello, our Moxie friends and family. I cannot be more excited to do this introduction with you. We want you to know who we work with and also promote some of the incredible freelancers that we work with. So I am very, very excited to introduce you to Ocean. She is going to be our community manager at Moxie, but I would love for you to tell us about what you like to be called in your real life, and to just say hi.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. So my name is Ocean. Yes, it's my real name. I get asked that a lot. I've grown to like it. I did not like it growing up, but I'm owning it now. So yeah, and I'm very excited to be coming in as the community manager here at Moxie.
Excellent. So you also freelance aside from Moxie. That's how we are hiring you. What would you call your freelance self or your freelance business? Or
Mm,
what do you call it?
yeah, so right now I would say I'm a freelance community and operations manager. And historically, it's been more confusing than that. I've played around with so many different variations, but that's the one I settled on, and I'm happy now explaining to people what that actually means. Whereas before, it got very convoluted, and it was like 10 words long for no reason.
I feel like that is like the part of the freelance experience that is like, well, what do you do? Like, well, I do feel like I always start with the word well. I'm like, well, I freelance. And then it's like either people want to know more or I'm like, yeah, 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 it's okay. Don't ask any more questions.
Yeah, there's almost this like gauging you need to do of like, how much am I going to give you here? Like, where are you on the scale of knowledge of this world?
Yes. Like, were you asking because you want to know, or are you asking because you felt like that's the question that you ask?
Yeah.
So I'd love to know more about you as a human. So I'd love to hear, what is your absolute favorite way to spend your weekend or any of your time off?
Hmm. So I really enjoy being out in nature. So I generally try and have some kind of immersive nature experience at the weekends. I've just got back from Colombia, so there was a lot of that, a lot of being outdoors and like doing like wake surfing and rock climbing and all the good stuff, horse riding. But now I'm back in London. I'm not sure how accessible that's going to be because it's cold and it's winter. But yeah, there'll be a lot of like catching up with friends and family and that kind of thing. But I will say that typically I don't, like, as a freelancer, I don't have the same relationship with weekends as I think most
Mm.
people or like are used to. I very much see it as like, oh, cool, it's a time I can like get some deep work done and then go out and play as well. But I do get a lot of play in the week as well, so it can be, yeah, very varied.
Yes, I do love that. I love that perspective that, a weekend is not necessarily on the weekend, on the days that you
Mm.
set aside. Will you share with us what you love about what you do?
Mm. Yeah, so many things. Um, I would say that I love the variety of what I
Mhm.
do. I feel like I've had access to so many different like types of businesses, types of people, perspectives of the world just through being a freelancer because I've been able to work with so many different businesses in the amount of time that I have been freelancing versus if I was just with one company. I feel like I've just had so much more exposure to the world. Um, love choosing who I get to work with. That's really, really fun. In the earlier days, it felt like there was less choice and I just had to like say yes to everything that came my way. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take this thing, even though I don't really want it. Whereas now it's like, oh, I can actually like say no to things and say yes to other things and choose things that are like genuinely aligned with what I want to do in the world. Um, yeah, I love being able to control my schedule, going back to the weekend thing, being able to just like go to the gym in the middle of the day if it's like, oh, I have a bit of a lull or I don't have any meetings for a few hours. It's like I can control that time versus, oh, I'm stuck in the office and I need to stay here. And I guess just having that like overall agency and autonomy over where in the world I am as well, being able to travel while also working, which obviously has its challenges alongside it. But yeah, I absolutely love that flexibility. I know a lot of people don't have access to that. So
I love that. Let's lean in on those challenges a little bit. And, you know, as many freelancers have kind of the same shared experience in all the ways, we also have things that we don't love as much about freelancing. So tell me, what is your least favorite thing about freelancing?
yeah, so something we were just talking about before we started this, which was my location right now. I'm currently in a lobby. And this was a challenge of, okay, where is going to be quiet and good lighting that I can take this, which with traveling, especially, I think if I lived somewhere more permanently, I would have spaces that I knew I could go to. But because my life is so travel heavy, I'm constantly fluctuating between places. And so just finding places to take calls is a challenge, and having some kind of structure in place to support my work. I think the other biggest thing, which hasn't been such a challenge recently, but it has been in the past when I've had like so many clients, having that like balancing the priorities amongst them all. And the thing I would always say was like, if I worked for one company and I had a manager, I could be like, okay, this is my workload. Can you help me prioritize it and like take some stuff off my plate if that's possible? Whereas as a freelancer, it's like you can't go to a client and say, oh, I have all this other stuff on. Can you just like hold off a sec? It's like, no, I've hired you to do this thing. And so I feel like I have to bend myself in a lot of weird shapes in order to get the work done. So that can be challenging, can be quite tiring. And I think another part to that is like going back to again what we were saying earlier about like what do you tell people? It can be quite hard to like find people to relate to that, and to like, I'm grateful now that I have a lot of friends that do freelance and understand what that's like. But in the earlier stages, people didn't really understand. And it was like, oh, why are you working at the weekend? I'm like, I have to, like, I need to get this work done. Like, and then they just didn't get it. They were like, what is wrong with you? Why are you working? So it's, yeah, kind of having that understanding from other people as well, which is why I love the Moxie community, and having that space, and hopefully building more of a culture around that of like, there are people that understand the position you're in and the lifestyle that you have, and can relate to you on that level.
I love that. That is one of the things we love the most about the Moxie community, and why it was so important for us to launch it was freelancing is, almost by definition solo. Like, obviously, like there's co-working spaces and there's all the groups and all the things that we've really felt like it would be awesome to kind of pull together a group of people who do get what you're going through. So we're very excited to have you as part of it. So I'll wrap with and have you have the last word here. Is there anything else that we should know about you, or about freelancing, or about being in a community, or anything? The weather? I don't know. Anything you'd like to say to wrap things up?
That's a great question. I will resist the temptation to talk about the weather, as British as that would be, and say that I love talking to people. I think there's so much value in one-on-one connection. And so one thing I'm quite big on as a community manager is just having Zoom calls with people, or whatever platform you prefer, and just getting to know people on a one-to-one level, and really getting to understand who individuals are that form the collective of a community, so that we can really make sure that we're tailoring things to what it is that you need and want. So, and it's just nice chatting to people and having conversations. So
I love that.
please expect to hear from me.
Excellent. Well, if you are not part of our Moxie community, I will link that in the notes for this video. And we are so excited to have you. And thanks so much for chatting with me. Great to get to know you a little bit more.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.